A free inspection and a $9,000 quote are the same sales call. That's move 1 of 7 in a playbook older than the truck in your driveway. And it opens with a single word. Free. Nobody drives a van to your house, spends an hour in your basement, and eats the gas money for free. That hour has to earn its keep, and only one line item is big enough to pay for it. A brand new system. A TV crew in Denver once rigged a whole house to prove how that math plays out. We'll get to what those hidden cameras caught. 7 moves, 1 funnel. You'll see how the bait works, why a cracked heat exchanger is the perfect thing to point at, and the one question that quietly ends the whole thing at your furnace door. So, the flyer. $49, sometimes free. A friendly tune-up before the cold sets in. You've seen it stapled to your door or writing in your mailbox. It feels like a local company just being neighborly. But a truck roll isn't cheap. Fuel, insurance, an hour of a trained tech's time. That visit costs the company near $80 before anybody touches a screw. Hold on to that number. $80. The marketing side says the quiet part in plain print. One HVAC lead guide does the math right out loud. If a new customer costs $62 to acquire, a $50 discount on a tune-up makes sense. It even suggests a free inspection for any system over 10 years old, because those owners are the ones most likely to buy a new furnace later. And think about the gap sitting there. A service ticket is worth maybe $400 to $800. An install is worth $4,500 to $12,000. So the free visit was never the product. You were the product, and the tune-up was just the door. Now here's where it turns, because the tech who shows up isn't only a tech. On plenty of payrolls, he's also a salesman, whether he wanted the job or not. There's an actual industry term for it, a spiff. The Air Conditioning Contractors of America says it stands for Sales Performance Incentive Fund. It's a bonus for selling specific high-margin things. Commission stacks on top. 3% here, 5% there. A few $100 for closing a top-tier unit. So a guy who fixes your capacitor for $40 makes almost nothing. The guy who condemns the whole system makes his month. And even contractors admit this part out loud. One field pay consultancy says the biggest complaint about commission techs is feeling pressured into things they don't need. On the trade forums, techs describe coworkers who condemn equipment they can't fix. The good leads get routed straight to the closers. I get it, everybody's gotta eat. But you deserve to know the person diagnosing your furnace earns more if the answer is replace. Now the centerpiece, the move that does the heavy lifting, the cracked heat exchanger. And I want to be square with you, because a real crack is genuinely dangerous. The heat exchanger is the metal wall that keeps combustion gases out of the air you breathe. That includes carbon monoxide. A real crack can leak that gas. And carbon monoxide kills more than 400 Americans a year in poisonings unrelated to fires. This is not a made-up threat. But that is exactly why it's the perfect thing to point at. It's invisible, it's deadly, and it's buried inside a metal box you'll never open. You can't verify it, and you can't feel it. And the words carbon monoxide do something a clogged filter never could. So it becomes the universal condemnation. The reason the whole system has to go tonight. And here's the uncomfortable part. There's no single national rule for exactly when a heat exchanger must be condemned. The codes say check it, but they don't agree on how. That gray zone is where the money lives. Pull back for a second and notice the thread. Move 1 gets him in the door cheap. Move 2 means he only wins if you replace. Move 3 hands him a danger you can't check. These aren't 3 separate tricks. They're one machine. And every gear turns toward the same $9,000 quote. But you're not naive, so you ask him to prove it. And this is where it gets clever, because he can show you something. A mirror and a flashlight. A borescope camera snaked down into the box. A combustion analyzer beeping out a carbon monoxide number. It looks like hard science, and honestly, some of it is. But the industry's own guidance, from a body called AHRI, warns against camera and smoke and water tests. The seams inside a heat exchanger were never airtight to begin with. A small reading doesn't automatically mean a dangerous crack, and that carbon monoxide number cuts both ways. A reading can help confirm a bad furnace, but a clean reading doesn't prove a safe one, and a large hole can still register almost nothing. By the industry's own estimate, you can miss up to 80% of cracks. No test finds them every single time, so a shaky borescope video in a dark basement isn't proof. It's a prop. Then comes the sticker, the red tag. He tells you he can't legally turn it back on, that his hands are tied, and a red tag is a real thing. A truly unsafe furnace should be shut down. But a red tag is not a court order. It does not mean you have to replace anything tonight. A Boston TV investigation followed a family told their heat exchanger was cracked and the furnace condemned. A second technician ran a camera inside and found no cracks. The readings were perfectly safe. The first guy's proof? A cell phone video he couldn't produce when they asked. And some techs go further, pulling the unit apart so it can't run, which conveniently makes replacement feel like the only door left. A straight operator cuts the power, tells you plainly, and lets you decide. By now the pressure has a rhythm. Danger, then urgency, then a discount with a clock on it. This price is only good if you sign today. The financing paperwork is already loaded on the tablet. In one Boston case, a replacement salesman called the homeowner within 30 minutes of the diagnosis. 30 minutes. That's not a coincidence, that's a relay race. And in Pennsylvania, the state attorney general took a company to court over this exact pattern. The state alleged an 85-year-old woman on Social Security was scared into signing a blank contract. She was told her heater could blow up at any second. The company settled for $300,000 without admitting it did anything wrong. But the playbook the state laid out should sound familiar by now, which brings us back to Denver and that rigged house. The furnace inside was known good, a 19-year-old unit that ran fine. 6 companies came through the door. 3 of them recommended unnecessary parts or a full replacement. One tech stood on camera and condemned a healthy furnace, claiming deadly carbon monoxide, then quoted thousands to swap it out. And up in Winnipeg, another crew sent one company to 3 homes. Independent experts found 2 of those 3 furnaces never needed replacing. One homeowner was told there were 8 cracks. There weren't any. So this isn't one bad apple in your town. It's a script, and it travels. And the point was never to scare you out of ever fixing your furnace. Real cracks exist. Plenty of techs are honest. Carbon monoxide is not a bluff. The point is to hand you the moves that flip this back in your favor, because the counter is almost embarrassingly cheap. And yeah, I know how this sounds. A voice on the internet telling you the repairman's out to get you is its own hustle. So don't just take my word for it. Go check every name and number I gave you. They hold up. First, the second opinion, and this one is the whole ballgame. An independent diagnostic visit runs about $75 to $300. Set that against a $9,000 quote, and it stops being a decision. Now the honest caveat. Some second opinions come from companies that also sell replacements. So ask for a diagnostic-only or flat-rate outfit that doesn't profit from the verdict. The ones with nothing to sell you find a lot more furnaces that are simply fine. Second, make him show his work. Ask to see the crack with your own eyes, on the camera, right now. Ask for the carbon monoxide reading in context, the flue number and the room number, not just an alarming beep, and ask for a written, itemized estimate you can carry to another company. The caveat here, a clean camera shot still isn't a lab certificate, and 2 honest techs can genuinely disagree. But a company that won't show you anything has already told you everything. Third, and this is the one I'd tattoo on the furnace if I could, you almost never have to decide tonight. A same-day discount that evaporates by morning is a sales tactic, not a safety measure. You can shut the power off, keep your family safe, and still get that second opinion. Do it before any pipes freeze. The one exception I'll be straight about. If a carbon monoxide alarm is actually going off, that is a real emergency. Leave and call for help. Short of that, the clock belongs to you, not the guy with the financing tablet. So here's what the whole thing comes down to. The inspection was never really an inspection. It was the top of a sales funnel wearing a tool belt. The free visit and the $9,000 quote were always the same call, just 50 minutes apart. Remember that $80 it cost them to knock on your door? That's the tell. Nobody spends $80 to save you money. You don't need to become an HVAC tech to win this. You just need to make the invisible visible. Keep the clock in your own pocket. And be the one homeowner on the street who calmly asks to see the crack. YouTube thinks you'll like whatever's on screen right now, so go ahead and click it. And if you made it to the end of a video about furnace inspections, you're my kind of person. So hit subscribe.